Precipitator gave a new name, source to nurture the world, ready, sing a new tune.
Hello and welcome to Home Gupshup. Waking up early comes with its own advantages, one being enjoying the morning bliss, beautiful colors, and getting that extra time. I've shown an incense stick holder long ago using a vase, and that was a hit amongst so many of you. So here's the thing. I had this holder that I purchased long ago. Now to make it interesting further, I've added layers. Layers with a cake stand and a smaller bowl. Thanks to a friend Karina who I incidentally met through YouTube. She told me about layering bowls etc. to make a better holder. This new look seems pretty interesting, and honestly you can just use about anything from your home and kitchen, anything really like beautiful ceramics. Some of you often tell me how I could have possibly shown other parts of my home too. And while I'd love to do that, the only other part that exists is this bedroom and the tiny entryway. This bedroom has also turned into partial office space for us, accommodates a little book rack and this cabinet that I added later. Organizing many things in my home means simply dumping them in baskets. Extra cords, wires, chargers and such are often needed not in the bedroom but in the office space here. Next to these, I simply placed some olive branches and the overall color scheme somehow reminded me of Greece. In order to arrange my makeup essentials, I've been trying various methods from time and again, and the one that's proved most promising so far is this little stash of transparent pull-out drawers. These have been making the rounds on the net for organizing so many things, and recently I spotted these in a local store and I instantly knew that I wanted these just for this one purpose. One can have everything segregated category-wise, and it seems to fit perfectly in the tiny shelf in my wardrobe. I've been using this method for more than a month now, and honestly it's been super effective as now I can find my things really easily. I won't deny I had to declutter a bit, but now it works amazingly. Moving on, it was time I placed some laundry. I've started to do smaller batches more frequently and it's been helping me a lot. Let me know how do you like to do it. And while I'm at it, I thought of updating you on this one jar. I'd shown this laundry basket makeover in the previous video if you remember. I've switched up one of the jars to accommodate for all my cleaning cloths and now they are at one place. I use microfiber cloths usually for cleaning, but now they're all tucked here in this jar. I find this is quite easy to grab and you can see how many more you have left since I wash them quite often. I had loads of mint growing and it was a good time to harvest it all. I quickly snipped out all the mint that I could. easiest way to wash such leaves thoroughly is to fill your spinner with water and then rotate with water in it. For the two of us, this much of mint is also more than enough, which is why I'm going to use it in two different ways today. One way is to make instant mint powder, which is an amazing thing to add in raita masala and similar recipes. You could also keep the powder handy and simply save it to be added to kebabs or any sort of marination for chicken, etc. To make this powder, I microwave the leaves for a quick 2 minutes, but I would suggest you check in between. I've been loving this newly styled incense stick holder. The best part is one can get creative and make many more versions of any size. You could also stick all the layers using a tiny glue or tape. I'm still experimenting, so keeping them as is. This looks gorgeous even when using a dhoop batti, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. For the rest of the mint, I'm going to make a mango drink concentrate today. I had one mango left and I simply chopped that into bigger chunks. For the concentrate, I'm going to eyeball all the measurements today since that's how I've made it in the past. The combination of peppercorns, black salt, cumin powder, or you could use actual cumin, and sugar. Now the amount of sugar you add will vary on how sweet or sour the mango tastes. The leaves turn super crispy and dry, and you'll see that you can easily crush them by hand. Now to make a fine powder, I'm going to grind them quickly using my coffee grinder. Sometimes the color of the leaves tends to go a bit darker when you microwave it, but this time the green was so bright. I guess because we used freshly harvested leaves. I was so happy with the color. The mixture of mango and mint can be blended into a smooth puree sort of thing. I've added a little bit of water to help with that. Normally you could store this in the fridge for a week maybe, but I know we won't be consuming it so fast, which is why I'm planning to freeze it. All one needs to do then is pop a cube or two in a glass and you're done. Mine turned out more green, but I guess if you add more mango it would be more yellowish, so again you can change around the measurements. Finally, after a long wait, we are getting to witness some warmer days. By warmer, I mean a max of 27 so far, which is also not bad for Berlin. People have started to show up in their balconies and more can be seen in the parks soaking the sun. Well, basically to soak in all the vitamin D that they can. It's surprising how now we've started to even miss the winter cozy vibes in summers, and probably that happens in quite the opposite way for winters. Waking up early usually gives a much more controlled start to the day. I'm sure you'll all agree, and one can actually get a lot of chores out of the way before heading out for anything. Today was a grocery run day for us and there was so much to see as the stock was full. We headed straight into the fruit aisle and further ahead were all kinds of nuts. Lots of dried cranberries and figs in this section could be seen. They say you're finally turning into an adult the day grocery shopping starts seeming fun and an enjoyable weekend activity to you. Raise your hands if you're also one of us.
Very nice. You can take.
I can't get enough of the beautiful and fresh basil that they always have. In fact, when they put all of the plants so close to each other, they seem even more pretty. I know you can see that, right? Ginger we get here isn't as strong in flavor as the ones in India, so usually we have to use a lot more in 2 cups of chai. A quick weighing of the veggies done. I love doing this, but today he's the one doing it. We moved to the lower floor of the store, which houses everything else, and we visit this part mostly to get an update of what all's new.
ये सोच रहा हूँ.
Back home, I quickly did some filling back and arranging the groceries. I've shown how I've always passionately cleaned, dried, and chopped my coriander since I use it almost in everything. Using the salad spinner is just my thing to dry things quickly. This was a bright morning, and it's honestly way more fun to organize everything and do these little chores in such bright daylight. The green of the greens seemed darker and brighter, and the reds of the tomatoes were more colorful than usual. The other day, one of you messaged me on Insta mentioning how this way of storing coriander has been a hit. My husband makes fun of me and says, "Why don't you start a course on this topic?" I always reserve the thicker stem part of the coriander along with some leaves to make green chutney, and mostly I do this part on the very day I get my veggies. We use green chutneys in sandwiches alongside chilas and also in wraps. These days Bombay sandwiches are something we are consuming quite a bit. A simple combination of potatoes, tomatoes, onion and loads of green chutney sandwiched together. It tastes super yum. Garlic, ginger, green chili, lemon, salt and a touch of sugar are the basic things that go along with coriander to make this chutney. After having lived in Germany for a fair bit of time, I can tell you for sure that there's no point trying to avoid using a rinse aid. It does what it does, and it is something that is needed to keep the dishes stain free. By that I mean water stains. So if you're not using it yet, do give it a try. If you're in the middle of summer or approaching monsoons and you wish to keep weird smells at bay, then you can do two things, at least I do them. First, I simply sprinkle baking soda on the bottom of the trash bin and then layer it with a kitchen tissue. Honestly, I don't just do this during this season, but I do this all year round. I've been doing this forever and the tissue has always saved me so many times really. I line it with the usual trash bags after that. And then anywhere near the trash can or even on the bottom, consider adding a cotton pad with a few drops of essential oil on it. You will of course need to add more oil from time to time as time passes. These 2 to 3 things help keep the fruit flies away, especially in hotter seasons. Since the portion under the sink is kinda hard to reach, I've organized it in the past in 2 ways. One using a pull-out stick-on drawer. I've shown that too. I've shared that in a couple of videos actually, and the other way is by using a lazy Susan. When there are limited number of bottles to organize, then I usually prefer this method. I have 1 bottle of homemade cleaning spray solution, one with a store-bought hard water stain remover, 1 oil bottle for chopping boards. I got mine from IKEA, but I think they're not selling it anymore. One is a creamy solution that helps to clean grease from the cooktop, and one is a kettle cleaner. These are the basics and cover almost anything that I might need. In addition to the kitchen sink area, placing the same cotton pad next to where you store the shoes is also a good idea. Well, these are not permanent solutions as you can tell, but I don't think there's any harm in doing this for a month or 2 or till you feel the need. I'm going to be adding these shoe trays to place any wet or dirty shoes right after we enter, and this is something I learned after moving to Germany. A lot of people do this at home to place their boots in winters. It was a Saturday and I usually like to browse all the new YouTube videos based on homemaking that are newly uploaded maybe in that week. I save a lot of them to watch later if I don't have the time at that moment. Do you also save videos and actually end up seeing them later?
As we get older, let's start.
Many of you often ask about how to store and organize so many things one needs in a mini kitchen just like this one, like the one I have. My go-to solution and one that I personally prefer is to declutter and stick with only the most important and essential things that comfortably fit into the space available. Having said that, living abroad has gotten me into cooking a bit more and more, and in the process I realized that I gathered quite a few things. So for such things I clean up my drawer and pick out things that are not necessarily required in the main drawer. I've set aside a secondary drawer, and in this case it's a basket to store all the extras that I still want in my hand's reach. I use this kind of a method only when I know I need those things but don't need them so much that they take up the space in the main cabinets. Well, it's not an ideal solution but something that works for now. I had spoken about how moving to grinding spices entirely at home is a thing I want to be able to do eventually, but for now I only do the basic, and that is coriander and cumin powder. These two, when ground in smaller batches, render way more flavor in my opinion, but I won't say that life changes drastically and this is a must for everyone.
Water crashing at my feet. I saw a blue horizon tide. I was out and looking for a key. Opens up and love surrounding me.
Personally, I find that roasting spices and any kind of spices in an iron pan results in beautiful roasting. It is even, and you will also see a beautiful reddish brown color that is produced from roasting cumin seeds over here.
Together like heaven. I'm in awe when I'm with you. I've chosen. You're the one I've waited for. I will promise my.
A part of my grocery shopping was also some Indian things, and we grabbed a curry packet this time. We usually love to have this alongside our evening chai. I prefer the Haldiram version, but we don't get that so easily over here. I filled a jar with a new pack of gram flour as well. The batch of chili pickle that I made at home is over now, and we've been trying out newer brands for pickles. This one seems nice, although the quantity that they provide seems on the lower side. Every time I'm making dosa sambar, I've developed a method where first I collect all the tadka ingredients in one platter, and only then I move on to cooking anything else. Garlic adds a lot of flavor to both sambar and the aloo dish that pairs well with dosa. So chopping thin slices and bigger chunks too for both the things respectively, collecting curry leaves, whole red chilies, asafoetida, mustard seeds and cumin seeds along with green chilies.
All the joy that's deep inside on every road. Every time I'll be by your side. Not a question how I feel.
Thanks to some work a night before, I have some veggie pre-chopped. I think sambar is fairly easy to make if you have the veggies prepped for.
Together like heaven. I'm in awe when I'm with you. I've chosen. You're the one I've waited for.
I'm sauteing the veggies separately in a pan to cook them a bit, while the dal has cooked separately in the instant pot or the pressure cooker. I feel like there's more control over the recipe this way, and there are no chances of overcooking the veggies, which I used to do a lot in the past.
You're the one I've waited for. And forever I will promise. And forever I will promise. And forever I will.
Those of you living in Germany and asking always about the batter, well, I buy it pre-made from any local Indian store at the moment. I'm not making it at home right now. What I like to do is basically shift it into a jar and add a bit of salt. That way the batter is ready to be used in multiple meals. Adding dal and hot water to sauteed veggies and then dropping in my tamarind cubes. I'm also adding bigger chunks of onions at the very end in the last boil of sambar. They get cooked easily in the residual heat. Tadka includes ghee, garlic, whole red chilies, mustard seeds, curry leaves and red chili powder. You can also add sambar powder over here. I've done that earlier. I've learned to make dosas on 2 pans simultaneously over time, and it gets the job done in half the time. It took some practice, but this saves so much of your time, you should try it. I can't even begin to tell you. Dosa making used to be tiring at one point, but now it's a breeze. Last winter, I was chatting with a friend. So in winter time, I told her the days get so dark around here. It makes filming really tough, I said. It's like no matter what time we plan to shoot, the lighting just refuses to cooperate. Gloomy skies anytime, any day. It was messing with my whole rhythm. And she goes, "So what's the problem?" And I said, "Well, we just can't sync our schedules with the daylight. It's frustrating." I remember feeling kind of stuck, like there was nothing I could really do about it. But then, so casually, she goes, "Why don't you just shoot with the lights on?" And I was like, "Wait, what? Wouldn't that look weird, shooting in the daytime with lights on?" She laughed and said, "Honestly, I think your home looks even cozier and more aesthetic with the lights on." And wow, that moment it just clicked. I was so happy. I realized the only thing really holding me back was me. She helped me see that it's not about having perfect conditions. It's about how we respond to them. Just wanted to end today's video with that little story from my life. Hope it brought a smile, and thanks so much for watching.